problem that our sport has is it's about showing what you have done for the gymnast. And we don't want it to be about that. It's about the gymnast and them having fun, being in charge of their sport, them leading and you helping, not you dictating that you have to be doing this or you have to do that and you have to push yourself. So what it says under here is taking the ego out of sports. It's everywhere. It's not just our sport. But our sport is kind of bad with an authoritarian style. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. And I like giving more choices, and I think that's what will raise better adults that are not as anxiety-ridden and having the issues that they have. We would rather have fun than perfect gymnastics. So if you're trying to get somebody to do things, perfect legs, perfect form, it's just not that fun though. It's not worth it. Like figure out ways for you to get them to have a little more fun than it is for you to get this perfect gymnastics that you're looking for. And I get it, when you're brought up as a gymnast who's used to pointed toes and perfection, you like that and you want to strive for that. But 95 to 98% of these kids are just going to do this for a short period of time and then move on to something else. So just try to keep that in mind. Especially when you're at team, you think, team? Sometimes those teen kids are like, really going to do level 3, 4, that's it. Or, just experience tramp team or tumbling team and then go on. It doesn't stay their life's ambition. So just because you see that they might be able to do something better, let's let them direct it a little bit more and give them more choices. Also, there we have this thing about struggling, and you need to teach them, because we were talking about this with Dave, you need to teach them that you have to push yourself. We can teach them that they can push themselves, that there are people who push themselves. There are kids who excel more. You can teach them about that, but it's not your job to make them push themselves. It becomes negative when you're the one who's, come on, you've got to do more leg lifts, or come on, you've got to do this.
Well, teach them to empower themselves that they can make the decision.
But they make the choice.
Yeah.
Because we had a boy at our gym. His assignment was 3 sets of 15 leg lifts. And he was by the stall bar with Pej mad, crying hysterically. I'm like, is this worth it? He's like, I should do 15. I should do 3 sets of 15 leg lifts. Is he going to be your level? No. So it's important to go, what is their choice on this? And then also, I think 3 sets of 15 leg lifts is an incredibly boring and non-original assignment, and it makes you miserable to go do it. If somebody told me to do that, I'd be pissed. So if you said, do 15 rounds of 3 leg lifts or whatever, and you were doing all these other things in between, you didn't notice you did 45 leg lifts, that's fine. But if you're noticing, I have to do 15 leg lifts, 3 sets, that's not fun. Change it. It's boring. I would love more coaches to look like that. You help them learn something and not that, let me show you how I put you through this and how much I do. Some parents are impressed with that sometimes, where you're picking them up and putting them through a back handspring. But that's really not good teaching. All it is showing how great a spotter you are and how you put them through something. You actually want to go, look how I took this kid who did a kickover with the mat starting here, then I folded it down one, then I folded it down one, folded it down one, and then they got the kickover on the floor by themselves. That's a great coach. You used their muscles, they built them up, and you got them better. You didn't show how you picked them up and lifted them over and over again. So Taylor's downstairs, and she sets up amazing circuits that make that happen, where it becomes their thing. So we want to just do a little bit more of that.
What's hard sometimes setting up circuits, they don't have the mats, or we end up taking mats from somebody else's circuit.
Yeah, no, there's lots of challenges, and we have all the same exact challenges. I need that mat, they took that, their team is taking this. There's all those challenges, but how the best do you do in the situation? Every single part of our job is hard. So every time you say it's kind of hard and you just don't want to bother, you're not doing the best thing for the kids. You want to try to figure it out. This is going to be hard, but it's worth it. We set this up and we did it. We figured it out. The first picture in there of loving your teacher, the number one reason kids quit their sport is they don't like their coach. Number one in all sports all around the country. They don't like their coach. If somebody looks at you and they don't like you as the coach, eventually they're quitting. So that's a really important thing. You don't want to come out of class and point out the problems. So we had a preschool coach at our gym, and they came out and said, well, he can't have a stamp today because he didn't listen here, he wasn't good over there, and he hit somebody over here. He's not getting a stamp. No parent wants to hear that. I can go bring him there to tell him how bad my kid is. So, yes.
Can I say something on that effect?
Yes.
Because I've noticed this too. Like, I've in years past talked to parents like, okay, your son was misbehaved today, and then I'm gonna get him back, and he's going to be the exact same kid he was last week. Like, nothing the parents are gonna say is gonna make the kid all of a sudden behave much better when there's pits and trampolines and a bunch of action running around. And honestly, I've noticed that just telling the parents, oh, he did well today, it makes them feel happy because they probably hear everywhere else that their son is misbehaving.
Right.
So
Because
like
he
the
probably-
one person who's like, oh, he did pretty good.
It probably is. And I try to tell my coaches, your job is not to get them to just listen to you. You're trying to set up the circuits and drills and stations so that they want to go do it. So there's ways to do that, but it's really challenging. It's really hard for you guys to come up with those when you don't think like that, when you think, I would like the kids to be easy and listen to me. Well, don't we all? That is the easiest. And authoritarian figures get that, but they also quit because they don't like it. So you can get that, but you also are losing kids that you don't know you're losing.
I have these two girls that will, they don't want to do gymnastics. And, there is no way to, make it fun for them. They don't want to do anything. And you ask them, what would you like to do? And they go home. And, they just don't want to do that. So what...
I would just keep using them as a challenge. I think of different things each time. Maybe there's a hangman game, or maybe there's a...
They don't want to do anything, though. Ever.
Okay, wait.
Ignore them. I ignore them like a dog. Okay, so you follow us.
I just keep setting
Just
up new
I
things.
make them inside, but
It is
The
unusual
only
that...
thing they want to do is spot other kids, which I will not let because they're going to get hurt. 6, 5, 5.
Who are they?
I was thinking she was going to say 14.
They're super. No.
6-year-olds?
Yeah.
So,
They're 5. Yeah.
There's
oh my god.
Super Cubs are in circuits, right?
Yeah.
Not these ones. They want to do a circuit. They
Well,
want
if
anything.
their parents want to pay for them to sit on the side of the circuits, and then we go to the next circuit, they sit on the side of that circuit, and the next circuit, they sit on the side of that circuit, that's the parents. You just keep trying to get them to go.
Okay.
If they're not hurting themselves or someone else, if they are, then you have to bring them out, and they say, hey, we'll try again
Yeah.
next time. We want them to participate. I mean,
Yeah. The only thing they ever want to do is just spot kids. They're like, I'll do pullovers. I'm like, no, because you're going to get kicked or something's going to happen. I'm like, don't put your hands on it.
Yeah.
What time you do Super Cups?
Today.
No.
What's that?
You talking about Super Cups? This is
Regular
5 years old? Oh, regular room. Oh, okay. But they're bossy.
Well, I just say try to use these as challenges to you and changing it up and figuring out a different way. And I mean, maybe you go around. If you go around the circuit 3 times, you get to color this over here, and that might be, oh, I want my name on it. Or you get to write your initials on this big piece of paper.
Yeah, because they're
I
on
want my
attention.
initials. You get to pick out a sticker and put it on this paper. Oh, I want my sticker. You figure it out.
Okay.
Figure it out. I'm pretty sure a 5 and 6-year-old you can figure out.
And those
A
parents.
14-year-old, you may get that where they just don't want to
Yeah.
be here and they're being abused.
And Michelle, those particular parents are okay with them sitting.
Yeah.
I know. That's Brock's sisters.
Yeah.
You want to try it for him?
Sure.
Okay, and when you're coming out, so you're coming out of class, you're trying to tell them how you're helping their kids improve. So you're doing a better job of it. They are we're working on that. He was a better listener over here. You're pointing out the things, but you're saying, hey, and I'm helping him with this part. So you kind of know. You're not saying, oh, this kid who doesn't listen at all is an angel listener. You're saying, I noticed this, but we're improving over here, and I liked how they did that over there.
Okay. So you're still pointing out the negative, but
You're not pointing it out negatively. You're pointing it out like you're a work in progress. You want to think of every kid. You know, we had the kid who's misbehaved in the other gym and doesn't listen ever. You don't want to think of them as the bad kid. You want to think of them as the work in progress who needs more help than the other kids.
Okay.
And he is the challenge. The challenges to you are the people who make you better coaches. Period. The easy kids don't make you better coaches. They're easy. The second picture is enthusiasm. I thought that girl's face just said it. When you're calling class, does anybody go, Super Girls, let's go, you know, or whatever, and my cubbies, come on in, woo, you know, enthusiasm to class. Hey, all right, let's go, come on, let's go to class. So, you know, the difference between the enthusiastic, this is their once a week thing. I know you're here every day and you're working and you're tired and you have family obligation and all that, but this is their one time a week. What are you doing that makes them excited? If they're glad to see you as a teacher, they go, oh my God, my teacher! That means they're going to keep coming. Would you be glad to see you? That's what I want to talk to the people who aren't here about, because they're not here. So there's probably a little less enthusiasm unless they absolutely just couldn't make it. You know? But the ones who, if you can see, hey, that one wants to love you, look enthusiastic for them. That's a great thing. That means they're going to keep coming, because if they like you, they're going to keep coming. One of our coaches who brought her niece to our gym filmed 1 minute of a paint class, and during that 1 minute, she sent me the video. I have an 18-year-old teacher, and she high-fived the kids 6 times during it. I thought that was amazing, because usually that's a lot in a minute. And it was all different kids, but it was high five, setting up stations, going around saying how good that was, not really telling them, oh my gosh, your legs are bent again. Your legs are bent again. Saying, oh, your legs are getting over the top more, it's better. And then care for kids. If you show you care, every parent and kid is going to like you. You're just like, I called them, I checked where they were, or I had the desk call them, or I just showed them, Miss Trish is wondering where you were. She cares about me, I'm coming back. That really makes a difference. If you have an anecdote to tell them, this happened and it was so cute, I was so excited. You show you love that kid and enjoy their antics or their whatevers. They go, oh my gosh, that teacher just really cares for my kid. That is so important. So those 3 things. And then quickly on the picture with no-nos. So we're thinking no more testing for anything except for team once a year. Is everybody okay with that? Do we have problems with that?
My kids like the testing for the tumbling class because I told them last week or next week we're going to go over some testing, and it goes pretty quick. It takes 20 minutes. And then this week, because I read the notes, no more testing, I was like, well, we're not going to do the testing. They're all like, well, why not? Because I feel like it's good for them to see where they like.
Well, you can do pressure turns all the time. Our gym, we don't have any testings for our team except once a year, and we're doing our show turn. Everybody's going. It's the same thing as a testing. You're just not sitting there writing down the.
So I was thinking to do it differently, make a sheet, because this is mostly for the beginners. The beginners, when they see what do they need to move up to like in my case, intermediate tumbling. Make a list. You need to have your bridge kickover. You need to have your cartwheel, like all the skills they need to have, and just give it to them.
I mean, you can do an extra handout for them, but I mean, it's just that this is what I came in and watched the other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just there's not enough interaction of woo my personalities.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't good. It doesn't look good. I just don't think it's necessary either. If you guys know what they need, you kind of give them a quick rundown.
You can usually tell if they're ready to move up.
Yeah, you can tell.
You always know. I stay away from all that. And I just say, if the kids that want to know, I go, you're being tested every day. Just do good. Keep going.
Well, it's different with classes versus team kids too. And I think once we all get our own classes and our own kids, it's going to make it easier on the
Then
staff.
you'll know them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we're going to have time between the classes to talk.
We have their 5-minute gap, and our gym does not do that.
That's it.
And I think that's better. It's expensive. It's expensive for a gym to pay the 5 minutes. I think it's better that way. But we do a thing where if they have back-to-back classes every other week, they can leave a class 5 minutes early to go talk to parents and tell the parents they're doing that. So that's what we do. But I think gaps are better and time is better. So I think that's right.
5 minutes, not 15.
Yes.
So I know we're talking about empowering the kids and all that. There have been certain special cases where there's particular kids that are just like nuts, and yesterday, I was talking to Dina yesterday. There's a kid in class who just like straight up called me an idiot. I don't know what to do with that kid, and he's like shoving other kids and all that.
Juliana?
No. Well, yeah.
Good guess.
But like what do we do when
So-
the kid is like being like mean?
You know, we don't
You
wanna
know?
like send them out.
Yeah. Like you don't want to sit a kid out because you don't want the parents to see their kids sitting
So,
down.
just to not get too sidetracked on the individual things, every time I have one of these meetings, our staff always brings up these special cases.
Yeah.
There are always special cases, there are always extreme, I mean, Taylor knows that I had Erica Oswald tell me to F off, you know, or something worse than that, I don't know, this,
I think it was you fucking bitch.
that's not good on the video.
Sorry.
But that's extreme.
She saw her opportunity and took it.
That's extreme. This is extreme.
Yeah.
But what we do is those kids, I want you all to remember this. The kids who are acting out the most need the most care. That's why they're acting out. So the easy ones are easy for you. The difficult ones need you more. So that's hard. But you would take that kid aside, ask them about, there's certain things you can't do. If they're hurting somebody else, you have to take them out. But you care about them and you want them to come back.
Take them out.
Take them out of class if they're going to hurt somebody.
Like them in the lobby.
Well, just say, I mean,
Yes.
if you ask them not to do something,
Yeah.
don't push that kid off the tramp and then they just do it again.
Yeah.
Just go, I'm going to have you sit out for 5 minutes. If you come back in and you don't do that again, we're good. I just want you not to hurt somebody else. It's my job to keep the others safe. You just keep showing that you care. Not I'm kicking you out, punish, bad. That just makes them come in and say, I'm a bad person anyway. I'm going to act worse. That's what will happen. Okay, next no on move-ups for team. So careful, you never, ever tell a kid they're probably going to move up, or they might move up, or they might do this. Never, ever. Wait till the absolute last minute, have team meetings, know that you guys are all on board because you've seen this fear, you've seen that attendance issue, you've seen this motivation issue, whatever, and be on board and always stay in the lower level if at all in doubt, because that's when you get into big problems. So really be careful with that. Stretching and lap sitting, we don't want to do where coaches are stretching kids. It's just, with safe sport, you just shouldn't do it anymore. You have them push themselves down. If you want to do partner stretching occasionally, you can have partners stretch each other. But we shouldn't be touching and pushing on kids anymore.
We've stopped that.
Okay, good. Awesome.
I have a question because you said about Supercup. Stacy said that you don't want line up or circle.
Right.
But
What do
I
you
think
mean circle?
circle because you know that we used to put the dots and then we run. It's fun.
warm up.
Oh no, we do super cups if you do the circle.
Oh, okay. Because I thought
But
it said no.
not lines. Like I remember one super cups class I was watching and we were doing perfect chassés across. I was like, those are super cups. They look like
Oh.
jets. They were so advanced. Our super cubs are going through the circuit, bent leg, cartwheel. They're not doing these.
But it's okay to like put the dots, do the stretching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Briefly, you want to keep them moving.
yeah, our circuit for kittens cubs and super cubs is you have your opening obstacle course so your latecomers can straggle in. So the other day I saw you guys come in, line up the class, and start taking attendance. We don't do that. We wait until this. Late people have come in, then we kind of write it down after we've done something at the beginning to get them moving. Whether it be run around the gym, jump overs, touch the floor, jumping jack, whatever it is. You're doing that, getting them moving. That's our opening obstacle course for Super Cubs. When you go over to your circle time, you take your attendance, and that can be the music and the little stretching, and maybe you're flying with a butterfly or holding your baby and all your stories. And then you go away to your next circuit because there's another TOTS class coming over to you anyway. And then you go over to your next circuit, and your next circuit, and your next circuit, then you do some kind of balloons fun or jump in the pit or whatever, and you're done. Stamps, and it's just all fun. It's play. That's what they're learning through play. Lap sitting just is a no-no. No one ever should put a kid in their lap, girl or boy, ever. Just to be sure. And then waterfall removal, that means that there are kids, and you'll be able to see them, who are acting wrong. We have parents who act wrong. We have coaches sometimes who act wrong. We're trying to get out of the waterfall. That means you don't get in to the waterfall where they're acting up and fight with them, because then you become part of the problem. We need you to remove yourself and be the counselor who helps guide them to the right things. Instead of, we had it 2 days ago, Pez was mad at this boy So now you're in the fight with them, and it can become your problem. You get blamed. The coach gets blamed for it. It's not, we don't want you blamed for anything. So you're just the administrator or counselor helping the situation. You're not in the fight. And yes, you will have a kid tell you you're an idiot. You will have disrespect. You'll have eye rolling. And if you want to fight them on that, then you become part of the problem. You're a guide, so if somebody's disrespectful to you, that you don't have to take it. But you're not mad at them. You're an educator of why they shouldn't behave that way. They still get to choose. Then you're going to stop them again if they're disrespectful to you again. I need to educate you why. I care about you, so you should care about me. And when you're disrespectful to me, that's not fair to me. And you keep telling them over and over until they change. Okay, then the next thing says, how do you sound to the kids? And I tried to come up with this acronym so you guys remember it, which was SCRAP. Scrap your old ways of speaking. I like C and R the best because my initials are CR. Just kidding. No, I like C and R the best because I think those are the most important things. Well, I was trying to figure out a reason to tell you why C and R were the best. But caught you being good. That is the best thing. So the boys were doing headstands over there. Nobody was pointing their toes. And so I just lied and said, I like those boys who are pointing their toes. And then everybody's toes went pointed. Or tried it. Or got closer. I like to see that. Ooh, I like the one kid who's doing this. That's caught you being good. It's so easy. Your leg was bent again. Your arms are bent. You're not pushing the bar. You didn't hollow. You didn't this. You didn't that. We need to stop how we're talking. So caught you being good is really, really important. And then raving. I sometimes literally don't correct a kid at all. I only say when I saw something good. And it works better. I'm telling you. Coaches think their job is to point out the mistakes over and over and over again. It's not good for the psyche. It doesn't help build a kid to be a better athlete. I'm watching it all through the elite world. My kid goes in, hits, and beats these kids who are 50,000 times better in practice. But that kid's self-esteem is so hit because they've been told how many things are wrong about them. And then my kid goes in and beats them. Like, how did that happen again? How does that keep happening? Because I don't point out, hey, you messed that up, but you know what you learned on that term? Don't worry about it. You're going to get it later on. No big deal. La-di-da. Said your legs were bent. That was wrong. And you fell again. You can't fall. You know, you just can't keep pointing out negative, negative, negative. So if you guys could change that whole style. And if you don't coach and you hear somebody coaching that way, try to rephrase it. We talked about that, right, Neil?
Yeah.
She was saying, and Trish was saying, I don't want your elbows bending on your fault. Well, obviously you don't want it. But what do you want? I want to see you work through your shoulders and pop without your elbows. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I want you to this instead of I don't want you to that.
Exactly. Because we play hangman and I told them that if they fall, they can't guess a letter. But then Cassie was like, well, rephrase that. If you make it, you get to guess a letter. So it was like, that way it makes more sense.
Right.
It's
the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's just
And I'm preaching this every day, and I have a coach who's been with me for, I think, 19 years. And yesterday, she was doing whole routines on bars, and she was counting up every mistake. You got 11. And I'm like, that's yesterday. So this is not easy. And she knows, but we haven't done enough. We're still working. So the silly, I couldn't really come up with a lot of silly ways, but Taylor does this thing where she goes, you know what's super trendy now these days? Pointing your toes. So that was like an idea of silly, but if you have another way of saying something silly, that really helps the kids.
I sometimes tell my girls when they're doing whatever, I'll be like, oh, you don't have to point your toes. In fact, it's preferred. And they kind of laugh like, oh, okay.
Right.
Think about it. Oh.
No, that's why I tell the girls, the 9-10s, I go, today, guys, you're allowed to hit all verticals on your passes. I just made that up, but today is the day you're allowed to hit them all. And they're like, oh. But, so that's silly. So if you have ways to say that, and then ask. Ask is a good one because you're asking about what they felt, what they think. Because once they're involved, they're going to get so much better. So ask them, and I also thought about asking about the next challenge. Hey, you made that back hip circle. You think you can make it with a scarf in your toes? Do you think you could try the next challenge? C could be challenged too. And then P was predict the future. So I'll tell you a quick story about how stupid I was as a young coach. A mom came in and said, watch my 6-year-old, she can do an aerial. And And so I tested her, I did that, I was like, oh, it's a good aerial, but you don't even need that for like till level 6, so I don't even know why she needs to do that. Really stupid, because she was so offended and so upset. And so what I do now is, you know, let's work a double layout, you never know. You know, let's try this, you could maybe do that, even though I'm like, there's no way they're ever doing that. You still give them hope that maybe you could, because sometimes you're wrong too. They might get that. So you say, hey, predict the future. I can see the next one's going to be really tight legs, or I see when you get this, I think you're going to be able to do that, and then it just seems really, really exciting to them. That was all my stuff up here. So, yes.
Just to go back to the other page with the pictures and
Yes.
the, what not to do with kids and the picking up and sitting on mats. Piggyback rides with kids and coaches, the piggyback ride thing, I don't know, we should be lifting up kids, right?
Yeah, I just don't think a
I see a
piggyback
lot of-
ride is at least on your back, but I just don't, it's one step away from holding them in front, so I just don't think you should do
Right,
it.
and I just wanted to touch base
Yeah,
on
let's